What's happening, YouTube world? Steve Billionaird, and this is, hope everybody's doing well first and foremost. And this video is another Billionaird Proverb. So this is for my Billionaird Proverbs series. For those that are new, let me explain what Billionaird Proverbs is. It's basically motivational quotes that I've come up with for the past couple of years, I would say. I've come up with different quotes. Pretty much probably at this point, I'm closing in on like 70 or 80. Probably 80, I think, quotes that I've come up with. And these quotes are basically about life, about circumstances, about lessons in life, good and not so good. And the whole reason behind these quotes is in hopes to motivate, inspire, even give wellness and healing, depending on, the quote that I do. But a lot of the quotes is also just giving pretty much motivation and inspiration. So let's get into it. So today, this quote that I came up with, and it's Billionaire Proverb, and this is the quote. Love is the right antidote. When you allow the actions of giving and receiving happiness and not focus on words. Let me say that one more time. Love is the right antidote when you allow the actions of giving and receiving happiness and not focus on words. Now, I know you're probably saying to yourself, how are you not going to focus on words when someone says love or says, for example, I love you, or giving and receiving love, obviously. So I came up with this, and this sort of happened to me. I won't get into the exact situation, but I will just keep it, I'll just generalize it as much as possible. So a lot of times, especially today, men, specifically more women, love to hear I love you and the different words that associate with love, right? A lot of times though, and this is the unfortunate part, a lot of times people use that word and misuse that word, or you can use it deceivingly, or they don't really mean it. So the reason behind this quote is a lot of times we have to show love, whether it's to a family member or to the person, your partner or someone that you love, or even to your children, by giving and also receiving love, right? Because when you give love, you're giving it in action and with a physical matter. And the simplest of, I would say, one example of giving is giving someone a hug and embracing them, or giving them something, any type of thing that shows that you love them. And then receiving love is also reciprocating and accepting love. You see, a lot of times, depending on our dynamics, our upbringing, and I will say personally for myself, I never received quote unquote physical love, meaning hugging and kissing, just showing affection is what it's called. So what happens is when you don't receive those things, it can very much be, I would say, like a trauma, or it can really affect you, because then as you grow older, you don't know how to receive love, nor you don't know how to give love as well. So now you're finding yourself very, I would say, empty and very It can be awkward, and also it can be very just, you're kind of like a stone because you don't know how to give and you don't know how to receive love because, and these are studies that have shown this, when you're a baby and as you're developing and learning and going through those things, we need nurturing. And if we don't receive or get nurturing, then that can be a mental effect, a psychological effect, and also even a physical effect as well. So I just wanted to explain that aspect. So now I'm going to go, like I've been doing, and tie a couple of scriptures to it. So I'm going to tie 3 scriptures. One of my favorite scriptures, and it's also, we were talking about unconditional love, right? Unconditional love is the most ultimate love you can have for someone. That means you love them unconditionally, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. So the first, one of my favorite scriptures, I would say, is, and it talks about unconditional love, is from 1 Corinthians 13:4. And it reads, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. The meaning behind that, and to tie it into my quote, is when it says love is patient, you have to be patient because there are different things as humans, as we are, we do good. And obviously if it's good, you're going to reward it with love and with happiness and with joy. When it's not so good, then that's when your love is tested, no matter who it is. Because now that determines how much you love someone, because none of us is perfect. We're going to do things that someone may not like or someone may not accept. At times we're going to get someone angry for something we did, whether it's we did something in a physical manner, or we did something by saying something that the person didn't appreciate or like. So that's where the love with patience come in, because you have to be patient because, like Jesus, we have to forgive and understand and know that we're human and we make mistakes. And as long as it can be discussed, talked about, and you can hopefully right that the person was wrong, then the love is what you will be giving them, and the patience to give them that, what they would call grace. Love is kind. Of course it's kind. Love in so many ways is kind. To a person, to even an animal, a dog, to a baby, to anyone, friend, family member, co-worker. Kindness is one of the highest forms of being nice, and at the same time giving love. And then also in the scripture, it does not envy and does not boast and is not proud. Because when you love someone, you can, I guess, boast about it in the good sense, saying that I love this person, I love this thing, or whatever it is. But at the same time, love is something that, in a spiritual sense, it makes you feel the utmost euphoria, if that makes sense. It's a feeling that makes you have joy, makes you have the ultimate feeling of love, basically. So, and lastly, for it not being proud, meaning, it's not going to be where it's, I guess, sort of a arrogance with it, if that makes sense. So within my quote, when I say, when you allow the actions of giving and receiving happiness and not focus on words, you're going to, with your actions, show how much you love someone. So you can boast about it, and that's okay, because you're giving them the love that you hope that once you give it, that they'll receive it, and it makes them, at the same time happy. So let me go into the second scripture, and this is from 1 Corinthians 13:7, and it reads, love, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. All of those things, going back to my quote, when I say, when you allow the actions of giving and receiving, let's just stay with that. Love protects, meaning that depending on whatever situation it is, and it could even be life-threatening. Let's just go to that extreme. You've seen different people, whether you're a parent and you're saving your child, whether if someone's drowning or anything, the love that you have for someone to sacrifice and your life, or to go to the extent, to the means, to the end, to quote unquote, whether it's in a violent situation or a threatening situation, to protect them. That's also a form of unconditional love. Trust, biggest thing when it comes to love. Love is trusting. There's different things that when you interact with someone or whatever relationships you have, the level of trust is built based on the level of relationship you have. So with your partner, obviously you trust in them that you both are as one and you're together and you're not gonna cheat, I guess, if you want to say that, or do anything. That's the level of trust and love you have for someone. Going back to my quote, actions, your actions, however you act towards the person, obviously you act in truth, you act in showing them in different ways, giving and also receiving. That's also the acts, certain acts of trust. And then always hopes, always perseveres. That's building, hoping that the person that you love or whoever that you love, you're hoping that it's all going to go accordingly, go right, go in truth. And then perseveres, meaning time as far as developing, as far as the relationship, whoever it is, and you just coming together and it's going organically and becoming stronger and stronger as far as throughout the year, the time-wise throughout the years and everything. So the last scripture, then I'm gonna tie my whole quote up, is from 1 Corinthians. And Corinthians in general is a very good scriptures to read. So when you get a moment, you should read the whole, book of Corinthians. This one comes from 1 Corinthians 13:5, and it reads, love, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Now, I want you to really understand those words, meaning that it does not dishonor others. So when you love someone, that's the whole point. Once you make the commitment, and that's another key word, commitment of love to someone or anything, that means that you're not only hoping and expecting and wanting trust, and you trust in them, you don't want to dishonor it, because you done made a commitment saying that you love them or you love whatever it is. So that's the commitment. That's, you're tying, you're bonded, another key word, together. And going back to my quote, love is the right antidote. What I mean by right antidote, because there are wrong antidotes, doing things that are not so good, not loving, doing, evil stuff and not caring and being dishonest and all of those things. When I say in the quote, love is the right antidote, because it is the right antidote, meaning that it's going to give the solution, the answer, and also is going to give ultimately what love does is happiness and joy. And the quote's saying love is not self-seeking, meaning you shouldn't be self-seeking it. Love should just become organically. It should just be something that it just comes. And once you give it, receive it, and then there you go. Then love, going back to the first one, love is patient, is not easily angered. So if you really love someone, you're not going to be easily angered. That makes sense. And then lastly, and this is the most important one, where a lot of people have a challenge, I would say, with love keeps no record of wrongs. You can't keep wrongs on someone once you have commitments of love to someone. So yes, you can get into differences, arguments, or different things, but ultimately it's forgiveness, and then it's moving on and moving forward. And I'm just breaking it down within the scriptures. I like to also, give perspective on the scriptures, how I see it. But at the end of the day, it's just to give and explain it in a full understanding to tie it into my quote. So I'm going to read my quote one more time, and then we're going to finish this billionaire proverb. And the billionaire proverb is, love is the right antidote. When you allow the actions of giving and receiving happiness and not focus on words. So what I was saying in this quote is, a lot of times people could say words, and people are very good, and some are really good orators when it comes to professing their love for someone or something, and they can say it so well and so eloquently and so smooth that you just believe it. And in a perfect world, if everybody was honest, and that's where this quote is coming from, then that would be great. But, and I'll quote my pastor in the past. He used to use a saying called watch their feet. And what he meant by that is people can say things and speak to you, but watch their feet, meaning watch their actions. So the action word is very important, because you want to see if this person loves you, then their actions will show it in different ways, from the small little things and thoughts that they will do to show that they care for you, and the more bigger things to show that they do ultimately love you, meaning saying things, doing things, making commitments to you or to someone or to even a dog. A lot of people have unconditional love for their dogs. They will do anything for their dogs. They will, anything from giving them things as far as, all types of toys, all types of things. But on the reverse side, a dog gives unconditional love as well, because they appreciate, and here it is, that someone is giving them attention and caring. And that's really what it comes down to with love, is the attention and caring for someone to all different extents. And ultimately, in happiness, and ultimately when things are not going right or someone's in sickness or anything, being there for them. That's what love is. And unconditional love, which is the highest level of love, is You're going to be there for that person no matter what. I would share one example of unconditional love that happened with me, and that's when I really found out, and I'm going to share it. Quick story. My grandmother, I was back home. I'm grown. This is probably I would say maybe 20 years ago, or maybe a little longer than that. And I was the night before my trip, we had went over my aunt's house. My flight was at 6 in the morning. No, it was at 7 in the morning. And I realized when I was packing that I left my keys, my house keys, at my aunt's house. And I was like, oh my God, I left my house keys. And my grandmother was like, really? Your flight is at 7 in the morning. And it was late. So my aunt was obviously asleep or whatever. So I was like, don't worry about it. I'll figure out as far as getting back in my house or whatever. So went to bed, packed, get up in the morning. My grandmother comes to me and holds the keys in front of my face and was like, here's your keys. I'm like, wait a minute. How did I drop my keys in the house, whatever? And she was like, no, I took a cab, went over to my aunt's house, her daughter, and got the keys and came back. And this was probably 2, 3 in the morning. And this is my grandmother. I was like, Grandma, you didn't have to do that. I would have probably figured out how to get in my house. No, because I wanted to make sure that you had your keys, and when you got home back to LA, you would be able to get in your house and you won't have to stress and have to worry. Man, you don't understand how much joy that made me feel. And looking back at it, and I get a little emotional just thinking about it. And my aunt even said it your grandmother took a cab and went over at 3 in the morning to pick up the keys for you to have so you can get back in your house when you went home. That's a form of unconditional love. My grandmother loved me so much and cared for me so much that she went out of her way to go get those keys. There are many forms of unconditional love. There are people that have given their life to save someone because they love them that much. They rather for them to survive at that moment than they were. Jumped in front of a bullet, whatever. That is the highest form. There's many forms of unconditional love, but that's the highest forms of unconditional love. So tying my scripture in is, that's why I came up with it, is a lot of times, yes, the words, people can say a lot of different things, but it's the actions. Giving, receiving, love to people, love to humanity, love to homeless people, love to, people that don't have anything. Those are different forms of love. Those are different forms of kindness. Those are different forms of just being not envying, not being boastful. You're doing things from the kindness of your heart. Lastly, Father, Jesus, he didn't look at the people that had everything. He went to the people that didn't have anything. He helped the people that were disabled or blind or crippled or doing so much wrong. He had love for all of us. And it's a lesson to all of us to show that there are times that when we give love and we give kindness and care, it's the power of it is unbelievable, how it changes and turns someone around. And the power of just helping people that have done wrong or that is in need. The power of love in a giving and receiving manner, in an action manner, can change someone's life. I've done things in my life to help people when they were down and when they was in situations. And I'm not going to get into it, but being there for them, God sees it. They are very appreciative of it, and you're giving love to them. And that's the greatest joy of all, is love. So I'll end it right there. Just love all. And thank you very much for watching this Billionaire Proverb. I hope it resonated with someone. I hope it spoke to someone. And I'm going to come out with a book one day, but I'm enjoying and loving this. And I hope this is very interesting. I'm sure it is, but at the end of the day, I'll know it is through my views. Hopefully you all will comment and just, let me know. Because at the end of the day, it's just giving motivation and giving inspiration and giving different perspectives. And I come up with these quotes in hopes, again, to motivate, inspire, and also critically think. And also, if it's something that I've said that can give you wellness or even heal you, man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing through God, through my spirit, through what I'm saying to you. And I'm enjoying doing this Billionaire Proverbs series and giving y'all my quotes and explaining them and giving you, perspectives and even tied in scripture. And I hope that I explain it well and give you all perspective and give you all motivation. And hopefully it's something that you can carry and just give someone love. And most importantly, and I would say this last, you have to give yourself love first. Self-love is very important, because if you don't have love for yourself, you're not going to be able to give love to others. So make sure you give yourself self-love. Don't ever go down negative roads or go down roads that make you feel like you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you're not a good, kind, or great person. You are. And as long as you pray on that and God, and know that that's what Jesus did for all of us, and he died for our salvation. Once you know that, then you'll understand, and hopefully we can walk like Jesus did. And if we can all do that, the world will be a better place, right? It would be. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, please comment. If you watch this video all the way through, it's definitely going to help my watch hours. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed this Billionaire Proverb. Have yourself a great morning, a great afternoon if you're watching it, and a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much. Steve Billionaird, Billionaire Proverbs. I'm out.